Hello everyone. So today we are going to see URL rewriting session tracking techniques. So why we use session tracking techniques? Because HTTP stateless behavior. The protocol HTTP creates separate connection with the web server for browser for every request. Due to this, one connection data cannot be used in another connection. That is, one request data cannot be used in another request processing. In order to get stateful behavior in the web application, though protocol HTTP is stateless, we use session tagging techniques. In first video we have seen the hidden form fields, how to do session tracking using hidden form fields. In this video we will see URL by using URL rewriting. In URL rewriting, we append a token for identifiers to the URL of the next servlet or next resource. We can send parameter name value pairs using the following format. So this is our format: URL equals to name1 and value1, and this is ampersand, then name2 equal to value2. So what are the advantages? It will be always work with whether cookies is disabled or not, browser independent. If we disable cookies, then it will be also work. Then next, in extra form submission is not required, as we have done in hidden form fields, that extra submission will not required. So let us go. So what is the problem we are facing? Let us see. So let's see, this is our index.html. Then after I'm typing here name, then address, and choose one of these. Here we will write sweet and spicy. So after submitting, this is our web server, this is servlet 1, first servlet, this is second servlet. The request will be go here. Then S1 will process the request and response will be here. This is what request 1, and this is response 1. Response 1, this is request 1. So in along with the request 1, this name Sam and address Pune is going to request 1. That request 1 is going to process in this first servlet. Then if he click on suite, we will give here option, and here also we will create one form. This will be our second form in the first servlet. Then after submitting that form, that will be give the request to. Then how can we take the request 1 data in the request 2? So for that we are using session tracking techniques. In that we are going to see URL rewriting. Then what we'll do, while submitting with the URL, we'll append the values of name and address, and that will be go along with the request 2, and in the response to we will write here name and address. So by using URL writing, we can use request 1 data in the request 2. That means we will use name and address. So let us see how can we perform this. So let's go to the Eclipse IDE. So make sure that your Tomcat is configured with the Eclipse IDE. So right click on this, go to new, go to dynamic web project, then JVB grow, then here project name as what, URL rewriting, URL rewriting. Then click on next, then next, and here we will write generate web.xml, then click on finish. It will take some time. So here our web project is created, URL rewriting. In that we will go to first to form this index.html. So let us go to src, then main. In main we will go to web apps and right click on web apps, go to new, go to HTML file, it is taking, yes, here we will write index.html, finish. So this is our index.html. I will write here a code for designing this form. So here I have written the HTML code, so I will explain it now. Here we have taken division. In that division we will take here form, and form method will be post, and we will give here a action, that is after submitting it will go to the first URL pattern. We will create one servlet for this pattern. Next, name input type equal to text and name is equal to name. The next one is we will take here address, then here input type equal to text and name equal to address. Then for choosing sweet and spicy, we will select, we'll use here select tag. In the select we will give two options, then whatever he will choose that will be stored into this dish. Then after that we will type here submit, input type equal to submit, and it will be for submitting the data. Then form is closed and division is closed. So for that division we have written here a style, width is 500, margin auto means it will comes to middle of the browser page, then margin top equals to 100 pixel, from the top it will be 100 pixel. Now right click on this, go open with web browser. So let us see how our form is. It is opening index.html. So here we can see this is our form. Here we will type name, then address, and here we have two choices. One is sweet and spicy, and this is submit button. So let's go to the Eclipse ID. Now it's time to go for servlet. So in the src main Java, right click on this, go to new, go to package, com.servlet, finish. Package is created, right click on this, new, class, and here we'll write what, first servlet, which will extends HTTP servlet. Here I am not getting HTTP servlet, that means I have to add the servlet API. So right click on this project, go to build path, configure build path, then class path, add external jars. So I have already downloaded the servlet API jar file. You can also download from the browser, that is myownrepository.com. You can type servlet API. So here I am using Tomcat, so I have downloaded Tomcat servlet API. Click on open, it is adding here, then click on apply, then apply and close. So in the reference libraries Tomcat API is coming. Now right click on this, go to new, go to class, here first servlet, then superclass HTTP servlet, here it is coming. Click on OK, then click on finish. And in the index.html we are taking here URL pattern, first URL. So copy this, go here. So instead of web.xml configuration we will write here, and we will use here annotation web servlet. and slash URL pattern, that is first URL. Then in index.html our method is post, so go here and write do post and type here control space, so it will give us suggestion. Click here on enter. So here we will get do post with the HTTP servlet request and response. So here also I will write the logic. So here I have written the logic, so let me explain this. So this is do post method. So first step is, let me do control shift T off. So first step is get print writer pw equal to res dot get writer, print writer for printing our result on the browser. Then next set content time text slash html, then get the values from the form. First is name, then address, then dish. So here we can see this is our name, so whatever we will type in the name that will go, then address, then dish, so that will read the values request.get parameter name, then address, then dish. Then we have two dish, one is sweet and second one is spicy. If the dish is sweet, then we'll give here a choice, choose one of them. Then here comes our URL rewriting. So what we are doing is, here we have taken the form and with the action, this is our URL, and we are passing the name and address along with what URL pattern. So this is our what URL rewriting session tracking techniques. You are passing our data with the URL name value and ampersand name to value 2. In this case with URL then question mark, and we are passing name equals to name and address equals to address, and method is post. So this is done. Then we will take here, give here two option. So if he choose sweet, then we will give two option, gulab jamun and jalebi, and at the end we will submit. After submitting, it will go to the second URL. Along with second URL, this value also will go to the second URL. Then else, if it will be not sweet, that means it is spicy. So if we choose spicy, then it will go to the else block and choose one of them. In the second, here is form. So what here happened is I have written two times forms. So let me delete this, and here we go with the form also second URL, and we will pass here values, name equal to name and address equal to address. Method is post, and here we will give another two options, samosa and paneer. Then this is submit button. After submit button, it will go to second URL with the name and address. So let us see in what we'll do in the src main, in web apps, in webinf web.xml. So here welcome file is index.html and our file name is index.html. Means at the when we'll run this project on server, so first page will be index.html. So let us see URL rewriting. Right click, then we will see run as, run on server. Then I am using here Tomcat 9, so click on next. So I want one project, that is URL rewriting, then click on finish, click on OK. So server will be started. It is starting. Yes, this is our index.html, right? Then here name is Sam and address is Pune, and choose anyone, sweet or spicy, submit, and here we go, Samsung, samosa and paneer. Then if we go back, and if I choose here sweet, submit, here we will get gulab jamun and jalebi. So if we go here and in the index.html, whatever you have done, after clicking on sweet, it will go to first servlet. And in the first servlet, if it is sweet, then we are giving two options, gulab jamun and jalebi, and samosa and paneer. If it is spicy, here it is reflecting. We have chosen here sweet. If we choose here spicy, click on submit and samosa and paneer is coming. So after clicking on submit, so let's ignore this and go to here. Here we can see, let me copy this and go to over here. So this is our URL. Let me go to the browser. So what we are doing is, after clicking on this submit, it will go to here second URL. We'll write logic. So before that we'll understand this is our URL. Then we are taking here second URL, then name. Along with this URL, name and address is also going. Name is equal to Sam and address equal to Pune is also going with this URL, because in first servlet we are giving here name and address. Now it's time to go for second URL. So for that, let me go here and stop the server. So right click on com.servlet, then go to new, go to class, second servlet, then browse http servlet, okay, finish, and let me write here URL @web servlet / first servlet, and the URL pattern is second URL. Let's copy this, go to here and paste this, and in the first servlet, in the form, we are taking method as post. So go to second servlet and write here do post, control space, enter. Here we are getting do post, then here we write response. Now let me write the logic for this. So here I have written the logic, so let me explain. So first two steps are common, that is get print writer and set content type. The next one is, whatever data we are passing through this URL, we can fetch that data by using get parameter, as we have done in the form. So request.get parameter name. So whatever we are passing name with the URL, that will be fetch here. Next one is address. So we will fetch here address, and we will print thank you. We will print name. Your dish will be placed at your address. So now let us see. Right click on project, run as, run on server, Tomcat 9. Next, finish. It will, server will be started and it is opening in browser. Then name as Sam, then address as Pune, and here we will write spicy, submit, samosa, submit, and here we can see thank you Sam, your samosa will be placed at Pune. So whatever we have seen here, we are taking here request 1 to servlet 1, then that request 1 response is going here. Then again in the first servlet we are giving here one form, so that will be create request 2 will go to second servlet and that response will come here. But the whatever request 1 data we are using in this second servlet, which data, name and address. Sam and address is Pune. So this is a session tracking technique we are using with the URL rewriting. So along with the URL, after submitting these, the values, name and address we are passing and accessing in the second servlet. Here we go. So this is about URL rewriting. So let us see what are the disadvantages of URL rewriting. So first is it will only work with the links. Then second one is it can send only textual information. And third disadvantages is we can see the data in the URL. So if in the browser we are passing here we are seeing the name as Sam and address as Pune. If it is username and password, then there will be no data secrecy here. Anyone can see name, that is username and password, if we use the URL rewriting. So this is not a secure way. And again, if we want, if there is more data, then it is difficult for URL. So if you have many data, then we can't store many data. It is having some limit for this URL, and it will be difficult for us to write this URL. Let us go to Eclipse, and in the first servlet, if you have many data, that is hundreds, if 100 data we want to pass from first servlet to second servlet, then it is difficult for us to write this. So these are the disadvantages. So let me explain again what we are doing. So first we have written the index.html. First we are written here a form. In that form we will take here a name, address and one option, sweet and spicy. Then after clicking on submit, it will go to first URL. That is our first servlet. In that first servlet we will process here. First we will take name, address and dish. So if dish is sweet, then we will give two options, gulab jamun and jalebi. But in the form, in the first servlet, we will pass the name and address, whatever we have taken from index.html through the URL rewriting to the second URL. So along with URL, this data will go to second servlet after submitting. This is for sweet and this is for spicy. So after submitting, it will go to second servlet, and in the second servlet we will take the values. First is name, then dish, then address. Name and address, whatever going with the URL, that will fetch here, and after that we can use name and dish, name, address and dish in the second servlet. So that is happening here. Let me go here. This is index.html. Click on submit. This is first servlet, samosa paneer. Click on submit, and here you can see URL data we are fetching, name here and address here. So this is the second session tracking technique, URL rewriting. So if you want this code, I will give the link of the code in the description. You can follow that.